Hi, I'm Bill Beagley. I'm the youth pastor at Bethel Assembly of God in Grand Junction, Colorado. And today I'm going to be talking about discipleship. Now, there are lots of different definitions of what discipleship means and what it looks like. But today I'm just going to be talking about discipleship as it pertains to making like kind. As a youth pastor, it is discipling a young person into leadership or into ministry. Jesus, when he was here on earth, did not train his disciples so that they could get a preaching license. He trained them so that when he was gone, his work would continue on, and we need to do the same. Now, in this 10-minute video, I can't possibly give you all the tools you need to disciple a young person, but I'm hoping I can give you enough tools to start. So you might be asking yourselves, well, how do I start? What is the first step? What is step 0? The first step is be willing. Let God know you're willing to do this, to take on this task, and have a willing heart and a willing attitude and a willing mind about it. And the second thing you do is probably the most important. You pray. Take it to God in prayer and ask for wisdom. James 1:5 tells us, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally, without reproach, and it shall be given to him. Man, let God know you're willing to do it, and he will show you who in your youth group wants to be discipled and who in your youth group is ready to be discipled. When you give a student some responsibility in the youth group, doing announcements, leading worship, singing a special, taking up the offering, anything like that, you are actually beginning the discipleship process. This is where it starts. So once you give a student an opportunity, some students will appreciate it and love it and want to do it more, and some students will be like, no thanks, not my thing. I relate it to kind of like the sower and the seed. Some seed fell on good ground, some seed fell on other ground. There's going to be students in your youth group who thrive on being given leadership opportunities and a chance to grow. Those are the ones you're going to want to disciple. Those are the ones you're going to want to take the time to make it personal. Once you find the one or two who want to be discipled, you need to grow them. You need to lead them into a leadership position so that they can become who you are. And this can look a million different ways. There has to be training, though. You have to meet with them before a youth group, either the night of your youth ministry or maybe a different night of the week. Discuss what you're planning for youth group. Discuss what you want them to do. Start with small responsibilities and gradually increase it. Share with them why you are speaking on what you're speaking on. Show them how you plan out a youth night. This is the training portion of your time together. When you meet, after you pray, discuss how youth went the previous week. Critique their portion of the service, but use uplifting words. It says, remember that you are not only training them, you are also teaching them. Include some Bible study in your time together. Even if it's not very long, they need to know that you care about them more than just as a helper. You care about their spiritual life as well. Give them instruction, then let them go. It says once you give them a part of the service, help them write it out. Help them pick out the right game or give assistance. Don't just hand them a part and say, it's yours, do with it what you want. Assist them, hold their hands the first couple times. And when they're doing their part of the service, unless they're quoting scripture wrong or doing something that might get somebody hurt, you've got to let them have ownership of their part, complete ownership, and they must be allowed to fall. You can bring correction the next time you meet, but also this must be done in love. It says when you do meet, it does them no good if you never tell them how to improve. If you only tell them everything they did was awesome, everything they did was great, they'll never grow. And change up what you have them do. Don't just make one guy the games guy and one guy the computer guy and keep them at that same position the whole time. Let them rotate, let them move around, even if one guy is better at the computer and one guy's better at games. You know what? And stretch their comfort zone. Stretch it. And ask them to speak. Ask them to speak at youth group. Help them write out their message. Give them ideas. Maybe tag team the first message you have them share. When they get comfortable with that, have them speak in the main service when the youth have a Sunday morning. That's really outside their comfort zone. Have them lead an outreach. Eventually, have them plan, lead, and do everything one night for youth group. So I will tell you this. The question might be, what does discipleship actually look like? And I'm going to tell you what mine looks like on a Wednesday night. I meet with two guys. We meet on Wednesday nights at 7. And the reason we do that, we have youth group on Sunday nights. So Wednesday night is our planning night. That is the night I disciple these two young men. I'll tell you a little bit about them. They both went to Master's Commission. They both did 3 years, and now they're back home to their home church, Bethel Assembly of God. But I will tell you this, the discipleship didn't begin when we met on Wednesday night. The discipleship began when they were in my youth group. One of them was my worship leader, and the other one was my skit team leader. So that's when the process of discipleship began. We're just continuing it now that they're out of high school and want to come back and learn to be children's pastor and youth pastor. So we meet on Wednesday nights at 7. As I said, we start with prayer. That's always the beginning. Go in my office and start with prayer. And then we look, I have a wall calendar that's a 3-month calendar, and we look at it. And every Sunday is written up who's going to do what part of the service. So one of the guys will be in charge of the game each week. We alternate that. The other guy will lead in communion once a month. And I give them each an opportunity to speak in youth group alternating months. This helps us remember what's coming up, looking at the calendar, so that whoever's doing the announcements can put them in their phone so they can have them. The wall calendar is a 3-month one. We can start planning months ahead. It's awesome. If you don't have one, get one. After the calendar, we go back into my office and we discuss how youth group went last week. I make sure to tell the guys what was good first, and then I make suggestions or I ask why they chose to do something a certain way. I ask them, when that part is done, I ask them what God has talked to them and showed them this week in their Bible study, in their prayer time. And sometimes that will take the whole rest of our time together. And if it does, that's awesome, because I want to know that they're speaking to God and that God is speaking to them. Next, we get into our Bible study. And currently, we're studying Romans. This week, we're doing chapter 14, and we'll discuss what they got out of it and close in prayer. But we also discuss what I got out of it. I have a notebook, and during the week, I will read that portion of Romans 4 or 5 times. I will make notes. I will look up Old Testament stuff that relates to it, and then when we get together, we share. It's a great time. Love it. We have an awesome experience every Wednesday night. So finishing up, I'm going to finish my video here, getting down to my 10-minute time limit. A couple things. They will learn a lot from your times together. But the 2 biggest things I believe they need to learn about being in charge is servant leadership. They will watch you. And if you're a servant leader, they will become servant leaders. The other thing they should learn from you is submissive leadership. They will treat their head pastor the way you treat him. They will listen not only to the words you use in talking to him and about him, but also the tone and your actions. They will learn from you, how do you react when he says no? And that's a very important lesson as a youth pastor and as a member of a staff. All right. I hope this has been helpful. And again, my name is Bill Beagley, Bethel Assembly of God, Grand Junction, Colorado.